That's sort of
recommend having one team working on costing in one room, and another room having engineering working on engineering in another room. This right here is the machine, and if you pull that down, there should only be one resource. Okay, now notice it's PM02. So we have two of these machines. They're almost identical, but we decided to set them up individually in the system. Instead of making two resources with one resource group, we chose to set them up separately. So we send certain jobs, certain parts to one machine, certain parts to another machine on purpose to divide the work. The next thing we did is I identified this as a machine type of resource. Whoops. Let's go back to the resource group. Yeah. Here? Yep. This is where our burden is, and that's a calculation based on...
We had to do the multiplication and enter the $47.56.
Instead of keying in a code and calculating for you.
The next thing that we're not using in the section of the plant that we're currently covering is location and auto move, and all, even though they're checked, this is auto move opposite. So by having it checked, it means don't auto move it. But I just got a request today, in fact, to start looking into how can we use the tow motors to know what they have to do. And this is how we do it. If I had an output warehouse that was different than this one, and this was unchecked, it would automatically put a move queue to the tow motor driver that we need to move material. And the material would be whatever material is associated with this operation. So that there's a lot of power in this setup. It's just not, they don't go over it. And
it's hard to figure it out.
It's very hard to figure it out. We don't use all this other good stuff down here.
We do use crew size.
Yes.
In this particular example, one person runs the plasma. But for example, in our powder coat operation, we have a crew size of 17 that it takes to run the powder system. So when we get to that point, you'll see we'll have a crew size under production. I guess Chris actually has some crew sizes on the brake press, where because of the size of the part, it takes two people to handle it.
Most complicated part for us was learning how
I've got a question. I'm not sure how it really fits in, but let's go back to the configurator. You don't have to go back, but let's just think about that.
Okay.
Depending on certain options that we choose, it's going to go through different resources in the plant. How does that relate to the configurator? How do some of these resources relate and get put into the actual model that you're in after the configurator finishes?
Well, what the configurator does is you have to look at your model, your finished part, kind of like in a flat model. Like every detail is going to be in it. Okay, so you have this template. Every option that they could possibly take is in that template. Okay. Then what a configurator does is say, did they select this option? Nope. Okay, then don't bring it in. Did they select it? No, don't bring that one in. Yep, they selected this one. So it's a matter of eliminating stuff out of your big model. You know, the total. That's how it either adds or no. It always All right, so how do we make this happen for you, for something like your site? Well, a couple things we struggled with is could you right click on the part number at the top and select view costs. This was what I first became familiar with, and how to determine what did we set up in the system, what does it see for as far as cost. So I'm going to go over these three lines in great detail because they're, why is there three and what do they mean? Total cost, if you wouldn't mind going up to quantity and changing that to 10.
Well, we're a method tracker, so you want to go into...
Just right...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Change that right
I guess you
there.
can change that.
I think
Normally you can.
Hit tab. Notice it changed the total cost to 10 times the unit cost. That's why we use 10, so it's easy to determine. So that's all that is. It's a multiple of whatever's in that times the unit cost. So the unit cost line is exactly what it's currently seeing in the system for your part.
Okay.
Part cost. This is what was posted to the costing table the last time they did a roll-up.
Tracker.
Menu, I think, and then
Production management.
Material management, inventory management, general, cost adjustment. Do you remember the part number? The
467 we were on.
CP 467. This table's empty until you do a roll-up. Okay? Once you do the roll-up, it takes the information that's in there and it takes the labor that's associated with it and it moves it to material, because now it's going to go into inventory as part of the material. So you're not going to have a bunch of labor except for the very last labor cost. So here is your standard, okay, that it sees for that part. It looks like we haven't rolled that one up since we made some changes, because there's a difference.
So, well, our system, we basically have a base, and then we have a current. So, is this basically saying your standard is your base, and your last is your current?
That would be true, but actually your current, now we got to go, just leave this open and go back to your part maintenance, right click and open. Yeah, method tracker. And then just view it, the cost.
And the reason the current, the last wasn't updated because he hadn't done a roll.
That's correct. They haven't done a roll-up since we've changed something in material, because this is the same and this is the same. So we've changed the material, but we haven't done a roll-up. Okay? And that sticks out like a sore thumb when you look at it like this. All right. So this would be your base. This is what's out there as your base, and this is the current. And this is what your costing is going to run against per job right now. All right. So that's the difference in these three lines. Now, we need to go to a bright part. So this would be